Cloud interview, right? So let's start. So now the challenge is, right, so let's discuss about challenge. So most of us nowadays want to switch our domain, and in case of freshers, right, they wanted to get a decent job in a new technology, right? Let's say cloud technology, be it AWS, Azure, or GCP, or any other cloud, right? Or let's say DevOps, right? And now what they do, right? They either learn cloud through any online portal, say Udemy, or any online website, or let's say AWS on white papers or AWS videos, right? Or any other online sources, right? So they read the material, and they learn cloud, right? By just referring the online resources. But now the challenge is, right, when it comes to the interview preparation, right, or when it comes to attend the interview, right, they don't feel comfortable, right? So they don't feel comfortable when it comes to appear for the interview. They feel that they are lacking in knowledge, right? They don't have that much of hands-on experience, right? In order to crack the interview, right? Okay, and they face the dilemma, right? The other person know more than us, right? How I'm going to, like, appear for the interview. Let's say, suppose if I get selected, how I'm going to face the actual environment or the production environment in the actual organization, right? So I might face challenge or difficulties, right, in working in the actual environment, right? So all these, like, caution comes to the mind of an individual who wants it to switch a job, right, to the cloud technology, or right, or in case of fresher, they face such dilemmas, right, or these kind of a caution comes to the mind of an individual, right? So using this lecture series, right, I will help you out all in, come out of this dilemma, and so that you can prepare for the interview, right, without any burden, right? So you just need to follow the step-by-step guide that I am going to tell you in this lecture series, and you can feel comfortable, because like, using just by following this guide, most of my students, right, got selected in big MNCs, even though they didn't have that much, cloud experience, or they were freshers, right? Or some were freshers, right? Some were into the, like, old technologies, like, like service desk or remote desk, right? Or like in Unix or Linux, right? Or other profiles, right? But they didn't have the cloud experience, but now they were able to get a decent job in MNCs, right, just by following this approach, right? So let's start, right, and discuss, right? So now, what should be the focus area for you guys, right? See, reading material is not enough, right? First of all, what you guys need to do, you guys need to focus on the basic services, right? The basic should be strong, right? So how you are going to make that basic strong, right? Read the material again and again, right? Perform the practicals again and again, because the more you perform the practicals, the more you get insight about that service, right? See, in first attempt, you will only, like, get a gist of that service. But if you, read and perform the practical again, you will know other features of that service. In that third attempt, you will, you will, your mind will capture all the features and the image of that console, right? Yeah, this option is also there, this option is also there, right? Okay, so I can also do that part, I can also do that part, right? Suppose if someone asks you in interview, right, how can we do that, right? And if you have performed the practicals, if you have seen all the options that are available on the console, you would be able to, like, answer that question, right? So performing the practical is key. AWS is not about, cloud is not about just, like, knowing the theory, but, performing the practicals again and again, again and again, right? So emphasis should be on doing the practicals again and again of all the key services, right? So, and our basics should be strong, right? Basics of cloud, right? Basics of all the AWS services, right? It's not that we should be knowing each and every service. That is not possible, right? Even, like, for us, like, we are working in, like, since last 7 to 8 years on, in cloud technology itself, right? So for us as well, knowing all the services It's not possible because there are a lot of services that are available in AWS or Azure, right? So we cannot be aware of all the services, but yes, your basic should be strong, right? And you should have a zeal to learn the services. Let's suppose if you don't know that service, yes, no problem, I can go and learn that service. That is not a big challenge for me. You should be having that kind of a mentality and approach towards the cloud. And then again, as I discussed, read and do all the uh, practical of all the key services and practice again and again. And now the fourth point is to increase your thought process. Increase your thought process means generally what we do, we learn IAM, we learn S3, we learn EC2, we learn load balancers, right? We learn uh, ASG, right? But we don't know how to integrate, right, these services, right? So one should be aware of how to integrate these services, right? Let's say, you are using EC2, right? How to, integrate EC2 with ASG, right? Or how to, integrate a load balancer with ASG. So if you perform the practical, if you know how, like how to create ASG, right, then also you should be knowing that, while creating ASG, when we create ASG, right, with the help of the ASG, our EC2 gets created, right? And in that case, you also get an option to attach that ASG with the help of a load balancer. If you have already created a load balancer, then you can make use of that load balancer. Otherwise, you can create a new one. Okay, so you also get a health check option, right? Whether you want it the health check to be done with the help of the EC2 or with the help of the load balancer, right? Again, now after doing this, you can do this like CloudWatch. You can also implement the CloudWatch, right? Integrate CloudWatch so that if in case your instance goes down, a new one will be automatically created with the help of ASG. But how it will be created with the help of the CloudWatch, like applications, right? So this is how you would be doing all the stuff, right? So that is what is mean by the integration of the services, right? And if you know how to integrate, right, then you will also learn about how to prepare a architecture, right? Because you should be knowing about how to prepare a architecture, right? Because generally what happen nowadays are conducting online. Nowadays the interviews are conducting online, right? But when pre-COVID era, right, the interviews was offline, right, and they used to ask the candidates to draw a architecture. Please give me a minute. Okay. So they used to ask the candidates to draw the architecture, right? So we should be knowing how to draw architecture. If you know the integration of the services, how we align the services with each other, right? Let's suppose if I'm asking to draw a two-tier application architecture, so you should be knowing like how to draw VPC, should where we need to place VPC, and then how to create subnets, right? A public subnet and the private subnet, and then where to place the database, right? Where to place the EC2 instances, right? Where to place the ALB, right? Whether it is internal ALB or the external ALB, where to place the ASG, right? So let's suppose if I'm this is my EC2, right? Okay, I'm placing a ASG, right? Then it would be like this would be my ASG, right? And then it would be my VPC, right? Okay, and then it will also be placed in some subnets and all, right? So this is how you would be knowing how to draw architecture. So integration of services and drawing the architecture, right? It is must, right? Because then only you will get to know how to work in production environment as well, or industry as well, right? So do not focus more on learning the services individually, rather focus on the services integratively, right? Now, what are the key services that one should be knowing? So see, IAM, right? IAM, when I'm saying IAM means roles, policies, right? One should be aware of what all things can be achieved by policies. There are a lot of things that one can achieve using the IAM policies only, right? Let's say I'm saying that I want my S3 bucket to be accessible only from a particular IP, right? From one particular IP, my S3 bucket should be accessible. So in that case, you have to write a IAM policy, right? And you have to, and you go to the bucket policy and then paste your policy there. Let's suppose I'm asking you, there is a user, right? Or all the users should not be allowed to create any resource if they are not keeping the tags like project or XYZ, right? If the key is project and the value should be XYZ, if they are not putting that tag, right, they should, the AWS should deny them access to create any AWS resource, right? So this can be achieved using the IAM policy. How can one access, other account, right, without, login again and again, cross account role? How you should be knowing AWS organization. Because when it comes to the multi-account or big organization, they use lot of account. In my in my current organization, we are using approx for 50 AWS account, right, for different environment, for different application, right? So everything is being done on the AWS organization part, right? You should be knowing SCPs, right? How to implement SCP, what is the difference between IAM policies and SCPs, right? Similarly, S3, right? Okay, S3, right? How we can access S3 privately, right? Okay, without going to the internet, right? What protocol S3 use, right? Like REST API, right? EC2 load balancer. What are the different load balancers are available? Different ASG policies, targeted scaling policies, lifecycle hook, cool down period, right? Okay, so all those stuff. What happens when we, let's say shut down our or stop our instance that is part of ASG? Will it, stop, or will it terminate, or will it create a new EC2 instance, right? Then Route 53, what is the difference between Route 53 and ALB, right? Then database multi-AZ, right? Read replica, different type of databases, right? So these all things you should be aware of, right? And then all the management services. So for this, you need to go to your AWS console there, check the services section, go to the management services and read all the services. Just pick the name from there and read all the services theoretically, at least, if not practically. If you know practically, then it is good to know. But yeah, at least you should be aware of all those services theoretically and all the security service, because a lot of question I have seen that they ask you generally from all the management services and security services. And VPC is one of the service, then one must be aware of, right? We should have a command over these services. VPC, when I'm saying VPC means public subnet, private subnet, net gateway, internet gateway, route tables, transit gateway, VPC endpoint, VPC peering, all these, right? Different kind of endpoints, why we use endpoints, like all these things, right? You should be a gateway and interface, a gateway endpoint or interface endpoint, right? The difference between both. This should be on your fingertips, right? Because lot of questions, at least 30% of questions will come from the VPC, and then I can say 10 to 12% of or 15% of questions they ask from management and security services, right? Then rest will be load balancer and the Route 53 and database, right? So you can like in database, you should be knowing RTO and RPO, right? Read replica and multi-AZ, right? Because see, we are not a database guy. If you are a database guy, you should be knowing databases in depth, what all databases are available, how they function. But if in case you are not a database guy, you are only infra guy, then you should focus more on other services. Just know a bit about the databases, it will work, right? Okay, so let's keep this much for today. In the next session, I will come up with the interview questions of one of the organization I have appeared for. I appeared in interviews of most of the organizations, and I have collected the questions. So I will go through those questions in one by one subsequently lectures, right? So please join those lectures as well in order to get a gist of those interview questions, and you can prepare around those questions, right? If you prepare those questions, right, okay, practically as well as theoretically, I can assure you that you will be able to crack the interview. Thank you.